Thank you, delegates and panelists, for joining this session before time. My name is Vikas Bhadra, Associate Editor of Ace Update Magazine, and I welcome you all to the online interaction on metros and railways, design and impact on urban connectivity. As cities grow, the development of railways and metros is imminent, as it is one of the easiest ways to ensure last mile connectivity. Designing these infra utilities involves a precise use of innovative materials and technologies to ensure they are robust, long lasting, and energy efficient. Not to mention the timely maintenance to keep them that way. Different cities in India, as also abroad, are witnessing the rise of metro. Likewise, new railway corridors are opening up, embedding the design of the stations with a local and at times a global flavor is also the key to the task. The rise of the metros and railways also has a bearing on the growth and development of real estate, especially in far off areas which were otherwise not connected. Keeping this agenda in mind, at Ace Update today, we are conducting an online interaction on metros and railways, design and impact on urban connectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished speakers for today's interaction on metros and railways, design and impact on urban connectivity are Nishant Prakhar, Senior Architect, GPM Associates, Priya Sham Parmeshwaran, Director, Design Sync Consulting and Advisory Private Limited, and Shubhashwati Sinha, Principal Architect, Urban Koda. The first question which comes to my mind is there have been, especially because I've been in Mumbai, so I have witnessed the construction of the Ghatkopar-Warsaw corridor, that part. So something which we could see as an audience, like the construction of these stations took a lot of time. It went on and on and on. So what can possibly be done? All of these panelists, they have worked on such projects. So what should be done according to you to expedite the construction of railway and metro stations? Possibly, I would like to begin with Nishant first. So what is your opinion?
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. Actually, if you see the similarity in all these development, these are all brownfield development. So usually we see greenfield development for starters. Greenfield, like we have an open site and where we can easily build anything as per the applicable bylaws. But in case of brownfield development, there is a functional activity. Like in case of metro or railway, there is a functional railway station complex or premises. And in that complex, we have to do the construction while considering the safety of passengers and railway officers. That is the one thing. And in case of railway, because it's a industrial kind of setup, so there you get a very small window of construction time. Usually, if you see the 24-hour stable train chart, so you will hardly get 4 to 5 hours of window to make any kind of construction. Like we are doing few stations. So if you take say Ludhiana railway station, so in case of Ludhiana, we cannot do the construction from in typical case we do from 8 to 6 or something. So in case of Ludhiana, we will hardly get 3 to 4 hours during the daytime and some time pockets during the night time. And that time only you can take the construction work. And then there are a few more challenges because we are inviting, in case of railway station design, we are not just designing the station for commuters or passengers. We are also developing some real estate built up areas. Because of that, we are inviting more people to come within the station complex. Those are additional load in terms of traffic movement, passenger movement, and because of that, we'll have to take permission from traffic department and some other areas. Because of those requirement of NOCs, it takes time. And then railway standard is very different. We'll have to consider manual standard and specification for railway station design, and also the SOD, that is schedule of dimensions. Because of those challenges, you cannot make anything because you'll have to place your structural element in such a way that you are not infringing any part of SOD. So these are the challenges, and because of these challenges, it takes time to construct these projects, or the overall timeline is usually very high in these cases.
Thank you for that precise elucidation. Priya, what would you like to add to it?
I think Ghatkopar-Warsaw is a typical line. Mostly the issue was the contractor which was given at that time. And that time it was too early in India to have a competitive thing when Ghatkopar-Warsaw was done. Today, I am doing Bhopal, which is 18 months schedule. There is a lady director sitting there, 18-month schedules, 7 stations, construction schedule, okay? And we are already on the mark and we are meeting the schedule. So what we're trying to say is that technologies have changed, the way things have changed. And also Ghatkopar, Warsaw was done at a time where there was a lot of land litigations. Bombay is not used to giving up their land for the public good. So the number of people who fought cases for holding their land were much more than the people who really, the space the land metro occupied. So today it is understood by in India that if a notice comes, you might as well give your land, and they are really paying you more than market value. So things have changed and we are seeing it for the betterment overall in terms of the time. And in terms of the design, yes, Warsaw Ghatkopar was an apathy, and I think majority of us agree to that, and we are all improving slowly with all the other stations across the years.
Yeah, I think the rest of it, that is what I think most of the people wanted to hear. Thanks for putting it out.
It is. So there is nothing to shy away from that. It is badly designed. Entrances and exits are not sensitive enough. Yeah. And the way it is done, it's not. But I've had students coming for thesis, keeping with that as an example. I have sent them to 5 different cities to do their case studies, because you all are all learning from wrong things rather than seeing what's good done within India. So a lot more good has been done, and I think people should see outside Bombay.
True that. Shubhashati, would you like to add to it?
Yeah, no, I think now there is a lot of thought process behind any redevelopment that is happening, and I think now in the last recent couple of years there is certainly more thought given to it. But I think the kind of when we are looking at an urban scenario, we have to also think about the various factors and kind of land that is owned around the station. That has to, somewhere come from a common, there has to be a common governance, I think, around it, which will enable all these things to come together. So I'm seeing like some places there is this metro is developed, but the areas around it is totally getting ignored. So that integration has to happen. So that's where I feel we are kind of heading towards it. I think Delhi is going quite further because they have like multimodal integration plans for like 60 stations or something. So they are kind of progressing well with it. But I think the other cities have to follow and start looking at not just the metro, but like how are we integrating areas around it. So that's critical, I think. So I'm quite hopeful about this, and it was great to see the live projects as well.
Okay, that brings me to the next question which I have. Like, even in the presentation, I think it was pointed out, inculcating the ethos of the city in the station designs. Like something like I've been born and brought up in Bombay, and I'm pretty sure this is the case with most of the cities. I'm wondering, to what extent does inculcating the ethos of the city in station design make it familiar? Given the fact the cityscape is changing, everything around us is changing. We have more of sky rises pop. Maybe we look like a Shanghai or maybe US as well. So to what extent does it make a difference? Priya, you can take this up.
Ethos of the city is the people. Ethos of the city is no more the building. Okay. Yeah. So it's changing globally. So like when I came to Bangalore, I cribbed about Bangalore. I was always a Mumbai at my heart. I taught people like, okay, you have to give up your seat in the bus. You cannot just sit there for the next 2 hours just because you have to exchange. And it was like that. It started from there. And where we are trying to say is that ethos of the city is the people, and the needs of the people is the city. So if you see Nagpur, which we did, there are other videos where people have come up with tourist videos where it is only across the metro line. So the metro line has become landmarks and such that there are at least 10 YouTube channels just running because of the metro line.
Okay.
So what you're looking at is Mumbai and Delhi, which are gifted cities with a lot of money and a lot of population and this thing. But there are other cities for which all these places are huge landmarks.
Okay.
For various things and the way they do. So Mumbai takes things for granted. That you have a suburban train, you take it for granted. You have a BEST train, bus service, you take it for granted. So it's like that. So, and now for example, if I say one elevated metro station costs you 60 crores, one underground metro station costs you 250 crores, right? You're building 33 stations across Colaba to Sieves.
Yeah.
So you already sucked out the nation for almost 700 stations. So
True.
you have to understand on what pile of money you all are spending, and so at that point it cannot keep coming at the point of always cribbing. So that's where we are coming from.
So Nishant, you want to add your opinions on this one?
I'm agreeing with ma'am's thought. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, complete submission. Okay. I also saw in I think Priya's presentation in one of the stations there where they have put all the solar roof. It was a solar rooftop. Yeah. So I think this is not the case with all the railway stations, even in Delhi and Bombay. So in infra utilities such as railway and metro stations are big time energy consumers. So solar rooftops are one of the good methods to make them energy efficient. What are the other possible techniques which can be inculcated? Nishant, if you can add.
Actually, if we talk about railway station or metro, so there are certain challenges. We cannot, orient our building in such a way. Like if we talk about Tirupati, so it's a hot and to some extent humid weather, and there we have proposed an air concourse. Air concourse is a new concept. Usually, it's a concourse area just above tracks and platforms. So we are not providing any air conditioned space because of our budget constraint. So how we are achieving a thermal comfort in those areas? So we are providing a through roof from one end to another end, connecting both the sides of the station complex, and with the help of cross ventilation and with the help of bigger volume, because our passenger footfall is very high. If we talk about the peak hourly traffic, it's very high, roughly 4,000 to 5,000 passengers per hour. So with the help of cross ventilation, higher solar panels, and then use of grey waters for our toilet and flushing areas. And then in some areas where we are facing south or southwest direction, there we are using rat trap kind of wall just to reduce the overall heat gain. Also, we are reducing the overall fenestration or opening in those areas so that we are reducing the overall heat gain. And these are certain strategies we are trying to implement in our station complex. And also we are, because it's a large area from one end to another end, station complex is roughly more than 1,000 meter or 1 kilometer long. So that's a huge catchment area. So we are providing, we are doing one station in Bihar, it's called Muzaffarpur railway station. So there we have a natural water body. So we are trying to, destill that water body so that we can have bigger capacity of water body in that area, and that we can use as a detention pond during the rainy season. And those are few strategies we are applying in various stations as per their location and need. And
I think those are wonderful strategies. Priya, would you like to add to it? Anything that you think needs to be added?
We developed with DRDO, we developed the biodigester, which was the first thing which was installed in India. It is a very compact biodigester that which can take care of all the needs, so that you don't need to flush out across to the sewage system of the city and all of it. And it's a natural way through a reed bed. So that was one thing which we did for this station. Then there was, of course, all the urban connectivity with solar charging points. There were with the solar roof, we also provided charging points for e-scooters and e-cars, all those. We also provided cycles. Yulu in Bangalore is a big thing, which is a chargeable battery point-to-point connectivity for last mile. So you had mentioned last mile. So that's how we do last mile connectivity, that we give bays of cycles which can be left at the station. There are a number of things which can be done at the station because it's a huge place. But then keeping the budgets and the things in mind, as a phase-wise, like how Nishant said, all of us recommend to do it.
I think it's good to know that a lot of good is being done, at least. An attempt is being made and suggestions are being provided. The next question, I think, was custom designed for Subhashruti. Like Subhashruti, transit stops in world cities like Berlin, Dubai are designed as iconic structures. And what kind of branding has been considered? Again, this is again related to Mumbai Metro. Considered for Mumbai Metro, apart from colored strips under these structures.
So do you mean specifically around having iconic places around the station.
I mean, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure they're unhappy. Like people who travel all the way from Ghatkopar to also on a day-to-day basis, they're pretty unhappy with what's happened in Bombay, given the fact that what is happening in the rest of the country. This may have come up. So
Yeah, no, Bombay actually, yeah, it is a different case because again the population density is a totally different ball. I think in Mumbai, you have a suburban railway and then you have a metro coming up, and there are different. I think, as I said again, like at the street level, it's a totally different scenario. Like you have a huge tower and then you have not enough well-designed streets around it. So I think like with Mumbai again, like yeah, if you look at Tokyo again, it's really well done in terms of shortage of space. Like even if you have less space, you can still design stations which are like really inviting. And also like there are things like you can have like a kind of a viewing point or some kind of tower that can come up at one of the major stations, which gives you a view of the city. So things like that can be done, like, or you have an observatory around the station, one of the major stations. So that's something that a station can look at. But again, like for Mumbai, I don't know like what is the main reason, but I think now they have started to look at some redevelopment. I think Andheri metro station had done some major redevelopment work, so that's still in progress, I guess.
The question has been skillfully answered, and I hope whoever put it up is happy with it. Now,
It's more to
I
do
think
with
with
who
the
is on the
new-
top. It's
Yeah.
a bureaucrat or a technocrat.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole scenario changes. If it's a technocrat, then you can see a lot more good happening in the city. And if it's a bureaucrat, then basically he's not aware as what could be possibly done. And that's where the city lacks. And to put matters in perspective, who are we kidding? We are like the population of Bihar and UP, if you add it on Google, it's equal to the population of USA. So if that brings you perspective of the mammoths we are dealing with, Indian railways and the metro systems.
Yep.
And so get that perspective in mind. That's the thing which we're dealing. So the space occupied or the population. So that's something which we all have to acknowledge.
True. We have like population is going to be. It always becomes one of the core focus areas in any project, especially is meant for public good. Now, one thing again, like which has consistently been we have witnessing is, especially this government has been very particular about expansion of railway and metro infrastructure, and yeah, the work is going on. Now, when it comes to expansion of railways, I think it is. I have seen like 4 lanes becoming 6 lanes. It's easier. And yes, a lot of people utilize railways from going to point A to point B, and the density of the population keeps on increasing. Like railways still has a way to figure it out, and maybe they'll go from 6 lanes to maybe 10 or 12. They somehow manage
the
to do
land?
it. I mean,
And
I at least have seen 4 lanes going to 6 lanes. At least
yeah,
that
that's
is
because they have given up their own land and done
Yeah.
it. But then 10 to 12, well, what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
people are very loose in spending their wish list.
Yeah. But what happens is like in metros, what will you do? Like how will you handle this population? I mean, it will keep on
Yes,
exploding.
it is designed. It is designed for at least 2070, right? What we're designing today is 2070. And also to come back to your previous question, when you say that there are no facilities in Mumbai, Nishant will agree that we design for a system that people exit the system within few minutes. We don't want people to linger in the system.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
a place like Mumbai, it can be disastrous. See, if we provide an amazing restaurant inside Mumbai restaurant station, what happens is you have already thousands of restaurants below. You're already providing another amazing restaurant listing. Then the number of people standing inside the system lingers, right?
Yeah.
So we are adding hazards to a system. So in places like Mumbai, we want people to exit the system as quickly as possible. That's one of our design criteria. We don't want to give you any facilities that you sit inside our system because it's a security hazard. But in places like Nagpur, where the city power really has nothing. So you create something that the place itself becomes something. So everything has different dynamics. So we don't want to create a haircutting saloon and a pub and a scenario inside a railway station to give conveniences to people. You have enough. in Mumbai.
I
So
think, yeah.
metro cities, this is a hazard.
I think, yeah, that is quite right to say that we have to think very differently for different spaces. And depending metros, yeah, we don't want them to linger around. That is a good observation. Now, the thing is like, many stations abroad, they kind of inculcate biophilia in their designs, which makes them look very beautiful. So when it comes to inculcating such designs in, metro stations, what is the scope? Like, I know it may not be possible in Mumbai, but otherwise, what is the scope?
Maintenance cost is very, very high. So
Okay.
I would prefer a braille signage to a biophilia. So abroad, people have gone, they've finished all the check marks of the basics, and now they have come to biophilia. We need basics first, good toilets, clean places to sit, basic signage, basic thing, and I think the biophilia will come back later. It's a good to have,
Yeah.
not a must have.
Okay, it's not on the priority list.
It's definitely not. It's good to have, right?
Now,
How many
Nishan-
people have plants in their balconies? So it starts from there. If biophilia, so
Nishant, would you agree or are you submitting to this again?
No. The same thing I would say that again our population is very high. If you talk about the footfall, it's again it's a large number of footfall. So you talk about maintenance part and overall budget. Somewhere it's not relating to the overall footfall. So that's why we are not providing such activities within the station area. But yeah, we try to provide basic amenities first. Once we check all those elements, then only we try to incorporate these things. Because again, the overall maintenance, you require so many people to maintain these areas. So that is the point. And like in some cases, like in metros, we don't provide anything so that passengers are coming out, they can directly come out. But in some cases, some major intersection, if you're from Delhi, then Rajiv Chowk or Connaught Place, it's very famous for its commercial center. And there, within the station, it's an underground station, and there is a 2 levels of station intersecting each other. So there we have a large chunk of commercial activities like CCD, barista, food joints, even lens cart. Everything is there within that underground station, and the overall footfall is very high. I think more than 1 lakh to 5 lakhs. I don't have the exact number. So there we have provided. There the designer have provided it because that requirement was there. So
there's also a visa office.
yeah.
Okay.
So immigration office within the station. So
Yes.
No. Shubha Shruti, are you
I'll
in,
just
are you in
add
sync?
this.
Okay. Please.
I'll just say like Singapore has a lot of green infrastructure, but in the Indian context, I'll say we should just have more trees around the station. I think that will cater to a lot of like having good shade for people to linger around, and trees are, I think, the best and simplest way to, have, good greenery around the station. So I think that's critical. I see these small things actually make a big difference, which I think we fail to kind of look at. Also, I would like to add, like for some stations, yes, so there are some in the same city, you might have one station which has nothing at all, and you actually need a lot of facilities around it. And there are some stations where there are already quite a few facilities, so you don't need to have them. So it's actually like you have to look at which station are you catering to within the city. And I think that again at a planning level also has begun to happen, I think at some level, where you are looking at what is the land use around the station, and if there are existing facilities, then you don't need to provide them. Basically, like you may have something else. If there is not a park there, then maybe you should have a park. If there are facilities, then you have some other facilities like public areas. And if you have a lot of parks, then you can have other facilities coming in. So that, I think, that thinking has to come in somewhere. But I would say just go for the most simple infrastructure that we can provide. But the design, the way you design it makes an impact. So that's what I would like to add.
Thanks for the valuable opinion. And I think this is one of those webinars where everything is all the opinions are on the same page. It's good to see that for a change. And I would have loved to carry on this conversation, but we are now running short of time. And I would like Ms. Priya to give a closing statement.
I say I am a positive, hopeful person at heart. And I think all of us have to believe that India will move on to the next level of transit infrastructure with capable hands. People like all of us sitting in this panel have decided to stay back in India and work for this place rather than practicing somewhere else. That itself is a big move, because all of us are sensitive to a lot more things than what the previous generation was. So, and we also see the current generation of officers and people whom I meet in the IAS or everybody, they are also from our lot. They are also sensitive to these things. So, we are hopeful, and I think we will see a brighter place in the next 10 to 15 years. That's what we can see.
True that.
Thank you, panelists, for exchanging your valuable thoughts on today's topic, metros and railways, design and impact on urban connectivity. We hope you've enjoyed it. Before wrapping up today's session, we would like to thank our distinguished panelists, Mr. Nishant Prakhar, Ms. Priya Sham, and Ms. Shubhashweti Sinha. For viewers who have joined us today, we would like to have your feedback and encourage you to stay connected with us via our social media handles. ACE Update is available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Additionally, you can also download our app from Google Play and App Store. We request our viewers to stay tuned for future interactions as well. With that, today's interaction has now come to a close. Thank you and goodbye.